But we begin tonight with the fast eroding political ground beneath the Republican Party's latest anointed rising star. He is Bob McDonald, the famously and recently elected governor of Virginia. Bob McDonald was the chosen one to deliver the sacred first soundbite in that ad.
Here in Virginia, we live in the birthplace of American freedom and democracy. And this year, we're thrilled that our Commonwealth is the birthplace of a Republican resurgence in America.
Sold and obviously bought as a moderate, Bob McDonald effectively ran away from his super conservative religious right origins. Yes, his graduate school thesis, which he did as an adult at Pat Robertson's Regent University, did suggest that women having jobs, it was something that was detrimental to the family.
Turning now to the Virginia gubernatorial election, Republican candidate Bob McDonald is defending himself after his 1989 thesis was released to the public. According to the Washington Post, McDonald submitted a master thesis to the evangelical school he was attending at the time, where he described working women and feminists as, quote, detrimental to the family.
Tonight we can report that Governor Bob McDonald is stepping back from a third radically right-wing policy position that he's taken as governor in response to very negative public reaction. Governor McDonald keeps trying this stuff over and over and over again. Then it gets national attention and he has to dial it back and pretend he didn't mean it in the first place. It has happened again. Last night we reported on Governor McDonald's plan to require nonviolent felons to write an essay about their contributions to society since their release, if they wanted to have their voting rights restored. What had been a relatively perfunctory process would now include something like a test of a person's literacy about his or her merit as a citizen of Virginia. And another day, that sort of thing might have been called a literacy test. And in another day, literacy tests were used to keep African Americans from voting in the South. This policy change was greeted the way a lot of Governor McDonald's governing ideas have been greeted so far. Much of the reaction could be described as horrified. And so today, Governor Bob McDonald went on the radio in Norfolk, Virginia, acting as if his literacy test for voting policy wasn't really what his administration said it would be.
There's no essay. We've asked for just a simple statement of what the person has done in order to be reintegrated into society. A little bit about their crime, what they've done to get back into society, any community activities, and we're still in the draft stage.
Maybe the reporting on this jumped the gun? I don't think so. Governor McDonald's statement about this just being in the draft stages and not being an essay, and give us a few months, we haven't finalized it yet, is pretty hard to square with this. What you're looking at here is a letter obtained by the Washington Post. It's dated February 26, 2010. It was sent by the Commonwealth of Virginia to a nonviolent felon who was applying for the restoration of his civil rights. The person who received this letter, according to the letter, was being notified of a, quote, new requirement in pursuing the right to vote. Quote, a personal letter addressed to the governor explaining the circumstances of your arrest and conviction. Give a brief description of current employment or a good faith effort to obtain employment. If you have made strides in education or are involved in church activities, please let us know as well. Please also include any and all service to the community since being released by the court and the reasons why you believe the restoration of your civil rights is justified. But according to Governor McDonald on the radio today, the policy change that requires that statement, just a draft. Give us a few months. There's been no policy change. We're not asking people to do that. This morning, the Washington Post reported that dozens of nonviolent felons were sent the same letter requiring a letter to the governor as part of their applications for their restoration of civil rights. So this is the third instance of Bob McDonald governing extremely immoderately and then walking back from those immoderate positions.
Adopting those principles I learned at Regent has made me very effective both in the General Assembly and I think now as Attorney General. I'm grateful for my training here.
McDonald says he should be judged on what he's done in office rather than his former conservative beliefs.
Adopting those principles I learned at Region has made me very effective both in the General Assembly and I think now as Attorney General. I'm grateful for my training here. Adopting those principles I learned at Region has made me very effective both in the General Assembly and I think now as Attorney General. I'm grateful for my training here.
I don't think so.